My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us on a Friday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. It's a ghost town down here. This snow, which is completely stopped, has absolutely created a ghost town in downtown Charlottesville. So much so that the grand illumination has been canceled, Judah.
Yeah.
Is cancel the right word? I guess postponed. They're going to make an attempt to reschedule it. I'm surprised the grand illumination was canceled today. So a ghost town in downtown Charlottesville as we speak. Like and share the show. Let us know which headline is most intriguing to you. There's some items that did not make our headlines on screen that I will relay to you, the viewer and listener. On National Signing Day, Sports Illustrated has this tidbit. I found this intriguing. The beat reporter for Sports Illustrated that covers the University of Virginia, Jackson Caudell, he highlighted something that Tony Elliott said on his National Signing Day press conference, that quarterback Chandler Morris may have another year with the program. I'm going to read it verbatim. This is Tony Elliott at the National Signing Day press conference. There have been some talks with Chandler of possibly pursuing an extra year. That's still not to be determined, so not going to say if that's going to happen or not. That's Tony Elliott on National Signing Day, with Chandler Morris potentially returning for another year. He does not commit either way to Chandler Morris coming back to quarterback the Cavaliers. Chandler Morris is about to turn 25 years old. He's about to turn 25 years old. He's making $1.3 million. If I'm Chandler Morris, I consider coming back to the University of Virginia for another season to make some more money, because your future in the National Football League is not guaranteed. That's just my 2 cents. And if Tony Elliott in Virginia, if they open up the piggy bank and roll out the Brinks truck, he's making $1.3 million this year. He's going to have to make more than $1.3 million next year. He's earned it, right? He's earned it. We know the Duke quarterback is making $8 million over 2 years. Virginia Duke Saturday in the ACC championship tomorrow. You pay him more, you get him to come back. Virginia's going to contend potentially for another ACC championship. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. And speaking of Tony Elliott, he's the ACC Coach of the Year. If Tony Elliott wins tomorrow and beats Duke in the ACC championship to earn a berth in the college football playoff, Tony Elliott will probably be your National Coach of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. And what an incredible story for Tony Elliott, as we like to say on the program, from outhouse to penthouse for the Virginia head football coach. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. Studio camera, Judah Wickower. And then after you put the studio camera on screen and the viewers and listeners can see our downtown studio, I Love CVille, the water cooler of content and conversation, we will give some props to Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. If you want a hardscape built at your house, at your office, Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes is who you contact. Tim Hess, the local point of contact in the market. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes will help you actualize and make a reality any custom hardscape dreams you have. The return on investment on a hardscape is much more than financial. It's a return on quality of life and experience. James Watson, Rob Neal, Curtis Shaver, Troy Robinson, Ann Kibler, welcome to the broadcast, just to name a few. Print, radio, and television, welcome to the program. Judah on a two-shot, if you could. I would like to highlight the fact that Toy Lift is going on now. 36th annual? 36th annual Toy Lift going on now at Fashion Square Mall. I want you to consider this. There's a bucket truck at Fashion Square Mall.
Yeah.
And stakeholders and volunteers and leaders in our community are, what, Tom Powell, are you watching the program? 80, 100 feet high? However tall in the bucket truck. It's much colder up there than it is on ground level in the parking lot at the mall.
No doubt.
Are sitting in a bucket truck with the temperatures in the 20s to raise awareness, toys, and holiday cheer to families and children that do not have gifts to open on Christmas.
Yeah.
That's it right there. You have people sitting in a bucket truck or huddling around the bucket truck in a parking lot on a Friday with snow and precipitation and 20-degree temperatures amongst us going on right now.
Yeah.
And they're doing it to raise awareness, to garner gifts and presents for kids who do not have gifts and presents to open on Christmas.
Yeah. They're currently in need of, they're still in need of bikes, 20-inch girl bikes, 26-inch boy bikes. They're doing good work out there.
If you have an opportunity to stop by Fashion Square Mall, give some gifts, give some money, ladies and gentlemen, do it.
Yeah.
Figuring out a way to give presents to kids that don't have presents to open on Christmas. Mm-hmm. Come on. Unbelievable story. All right, a lot to cover on the program. Judah Wickower, the lead headline, James Watson, his photo on screen. He says, Tony Elliott is about to get paid. He's 100% right. James Watson knows football like the Pope knows holy water. And James Watson says he's about to get paid, about to get a big old contract, Tony Elliott. This guy very well could be the national coach of the year and have Virginia in the college football playoff, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable story. And he says on National Signing Day that Chandler Morris may come back for another year. Unbelievable story. First headline, what do you got, Judah Wickower?
After that one, we've got 1K students going on a run.
This is not the last we will hear of Jim Ryan. This week, 1,000 students and faculty members met Jim Ryan for a run around the city and around grounds at UVA. 1,000 students and faculty met Jim Ryan for a jog, a run with Jim, around grounds in the city. Abigail Spanberger on the near horizon as the governor of Virginia, going to nuclear bomb the Board of Visitors, going to use malfeasance and malpractice to oust Rachel Sheridan and Porter Wilkinson. I do not think this is the last we have heard of Jim Ryan. We have said on this program for a number of months that Jim Ryan, who is still employed by the University of Virginia, in fact getting paid not to work right now, getting paid $1 million not to work as part of his exodus from the president's mansion. Mm-hmm. We've said for months that this is not the last we're going to hear of Jim Ryan.
Yeah.
And now he's got 1,000 people running with him in the freezing cold around Charlottesville.
How many was average back when he was doing this?
Who knows? They're not counting how many people are running. But 1,000, I would say, is a pretty impressive turnout, though.
Certainly.
I mean, I don't know if I would put on my Nikes and run around grounds in the city with anyone, let alone by myself. But he got people to do it just to show support for him. Unbelievable story. Mm-hmm. Not the last we will see of Jimbo Ryan. Next headline, Judah Wickower, what do you got?
City to rehab 2nd and 4th Street downtown car crossings.
Why don't we'll set the stage for the viewers and listeners, right? They're accepting bids right now from contractors to remodel, rehab, retrofit, rebuild. I mean, I can continue with the alliteration if I want. The 2nd Street and 4th Street crossings. These are the crossings where the vehicles cross the downtown mall. My question for you, Judah Wickower, why do these crossings continue to get so much hate for some in the community about their existence? And my follow-up question to that, and then I'll get to John Blair's comments. My follow-up question to that is, should vehicles even be allowed to cross the pedestrian downtown mall, or should it completely be closed off to vehicle traffic? Judah Wickower, you go first.
I'm curious what they want to do here. What is the plan? I mean, is there...
Have you seen them recently?
I've driven over them recently.
They're really beat up.
I mean, what, bricks?
The bricks of the granite are really beat up. Like they get heavy traffic, and a lot of the traffic, the heavy traffic they get, are like the, like work trucks. It's not just like civilians and holiday goers and locals and tourists and students driving them. It's a lot of like the trucks that are servicing downtown Charlottesville.
Yeah,
heavy trucks.
I'm still unclear about what they think is going. The bricks aren't glued in place or anything. They're not cemented in there, and so you would think that by now we would have somebody or some way of easily rehabbing the bricks. I mean, is it as little as just like basically a reshuffle? Do we really? I'm not sure if somebody has the answer to how much it's supposed to cost to. It's just bricks, right?
The bids are now being accepted for the removal and replacement of the brick and granite pavers on the downtown mall crossings on 2nd Street and 4th Street, which will include custom drop inlets, concrete pipes, concrete curbs, and sidewalks. Bids are due on January 9th, and work is scheduled to begin on February 16th. Good reporting from Dave McNair, formerly of the Hook newspaper fame.
So if we're getting curbs, does that mean these are going to be like full-on streets crossing the mall? Like paved?
I would imagine it's going to be
blacktop?
What it was. Jason Noble's photo on screen, he said the last time I drove over 2nd and 4th Street in the downtown mall, it scraped the bejeebus out of the bottom of my car. That's from Jason Noble.
They do have pretty big speed bumps.
They're huge speed bumps. The only speed bumps I've seen locally that are bigger than those speed bumps are the speed bumps at Ix Park that are extremely aggressive at Ix Park. 3-notch, that area, the speed bumps are significantly aggressive.
Even after they took them down.
Have you? Well, you've been there recently.
Yeah.
You went there Tuesday to go to 3-notch.
There was a third speed bump over there, and I believe the speed bumps were actually bigger than they are now, and they cut them down because people were like,
"You're ripping out the bottom of our car."
I can't go half a mile per hour and still not
destroy the undercarriage.
Yeah.
Of the vehicle. John Blair watching the program. I'm curious, do you and Judah feel like there should be crossings at 2nd and 4th? The only legitimate argument I've heard for them is for pharmacy pickups at Timber Lakes. But if you close the crossings, couldn't you put a special parking space on the cutoff part of 4th Street for Timber Lakes for pharmacy pickup? And he also wants to add, I think the crossing should be closed. Also, God bless the toy lift and all of its volunteers. The late, great Wilson Ritchie, of the Whiskey Jar fame, Revolutionary Soup fame, Dooners fame, Cafe Frank fame, the Bebedero fame, Wilson Ritchie came on the show in the past, and God bless Wilson Ritchie. And he said that the 2nd Street and 4th Street crossings are extremely important. And he highlighted that they were important for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
One of the reasons he highlighted was for dropping off of older folks that want to patronize the restaurants on the downtown mall. They're dropped off there so they don't have to walk a distance to get to the restaurants. He highlighted that the restaurant workers that are working till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, closing down restaurants, are oftentimes either catching Ubers or doing like carpool type pickups on the 2nd and 4th Street crossings, as opposed to walking, many blocks to their vehicles, which helps with safety, especially ladies that are leaving restaurants, that they plan and strategize to be picked up on the 2nd and 4th Street crossings, as opposed to walking many blocks to a car away from the restaurant when their shift is over. He also highlighted the importance of 2nd and 4th Street for the vendors that provide goods of any kind. Cisco, Performance Foods. These trucks we see often crossing 2nd and 4th Street as they bring food into the various restaurants to then be sold and served. We know Scotty, our favorite UPS guy, uses the 2nd and 4th Street crossing to deliver UPS boxes. Up and down the downtown mall.
Yeah.
So they are used.
Yeah, some of those vehicles, I don't know if people can imagine this, but imagine trucks, trucks used to drop off, refrigerated trucks, whatnot. Imagine them trying to back out of one of these half streets that come partway to the to Main Street, and it would be a nightmare. I understand. I don't really understand why people don't want the crossings. I don't know of any.
Matthew Gillickett of the Gillickett Gang in Livable CVille is the one leading the charge for shutting down the pedestrian mall and making it 100% pedestrian. 100% pedestrian and not having the vehicle crossings.
I don't see the reason for that. Is there?
Well, we can point. I'm trying to cover every side of this here. Heather Higher Way.
But that didn't happen actually on the crossing.
It happened because you were able to drive across the mall. if there was no ability to drive across the mall, Fields' Dodge Charger would never have plowed into the group of people on 4th Street, now Heather Heyer Way.
I'm not sure I agree with that statement, but
If there was concrete cinder blocks preventing a vehicle to get on 4th Street and cross the mall, there's no way that would have happened.
I mean, as morbid as it is to talk about it, I think he hit that crowd before he was on the downtown mall. They were still on the street. Before you actually get onto the I could be wrong, but I seem to remember in photographs there were cars parked along the side, which would mean that that what happened did not happen on the downtown mall. And you're correct in the fact that he may not have turned down that street to try to cross the mall there, but I think we're splitting hairs. And
we are splitting hairs.
Easily could have happened somewhere else if there was no crossing on the downtown mall. Aside from that, is there anything else that has ever happened in one of these crossings?
Not that I know of.
Not that
aside
I know
from
of
that.
either.
Yeah, not. I've been here 25 years. Not that I know
I'm
that.
not sure why there's all of a sudden an urgency to I don't know what, protect people. It seems those we've mentioned the massive mounds that are the speed bumps, and I think they do a pretty good job of deterring people from zipping across the downtown.
Oh, those
mall.
speed bumps are the most aggressive speed bumps locally.
I cannot imagine hitting one of those going faster than like 1 or 2 miles per hour.
Yeah, you would rip your undercarriage out.
Yeah.
You would. Vanessa Parkhill disagrees. She says yes to keeping the vehicle crossings on the mall for all the reasons that Wilson Ritchie shared. Mm-hmm. And Wilson Ritchie, the godfather of the mall in a lot of ways. Georgia Gilmer pushes back on you. Judah Wickhauer, the car went from Market Street over the mall and into Water Street. That's what I remember as well. The Charger went from Market Street.
Right.
We're on 4th Street right here. Right? Here's Heather Heyer Way right here, right? So it went from Market Street, right, down 4th Street, over the mall, and onto Water Street. So if brick cylinders or concrete cylinders or a blockade of concrete poles of some kind were preventing the crossing of vehicles on the mall, the Charger would never have crossed the mall.
So he hit the crowd on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay. The photos seem to tell a different story, but I certainly could be wrong.
I'm looking at the photos.
Okay.
Here.
Like I said, I could be wrong.
I would encourage just a Google of Heather Heyer Way. In fact, Heather Heyer Memorial Park. I don't know if the viewers and listeners can see what, obviously this is very rudimentary here. This is on the fly. Can they see this? Yes or no?
I think they can probably see that.
This is on the 4th and Water Street there, right?
Yeah, it looks like it.
This is 4th and Water. And how we know it's 4th and Water is on the background is the railroad underpass. You see it in the far background?
Yeah.
So that was the Charger crossing the mall. Georgia Gilmer, we appreciate you watching and listening to the program. Gilligan, I will say on the program, he and I are like oil and water. What are the two opposites? What are opposites out there in the world?
Night and day.
Night and day.
Hot and cold.
I don't think he has the best ideas. Jason Noble does not either. In this particular circumstance, I see the pros of shutting down 2nd and 4th Street. I also see the pros of keeping it open.
I don't see the pros in shutting it down.
If you polled the business owners on the downtown mall, the business owners on the downtown mall would say keep it open.
Probably.
Yeah.
I still have not heard a credible reason why you would close them.
Vanessa Parkhill said if everyone stayed home, no one would have died downtown on August 12th. The tragic death of Heather Heyer is not the right reason to ban traffic crossing the mall. Her death was not a simple traffic incident.
100%. I agree 100% with that statement.
All right, next topic. Well, either way, this is the news. And the show is entertain, educate, and enlighten. And the news is this, that Charlottesville City Hall is accepting bids from contractors to replace the brick and granite pavers on the downtown mall crossings of 2nd Street and 4th Street. The project will include custom drop inlets, concrete pipes, concrete curbs, and sidewalks, and bids are due on the 9th of January with work scheduled to begin on the 16th of February. Next headline, Judah Wickera, what do you got?
I'd love a visual of what they have in mind.
I have a visual.
Okay.
I mean, I have a architectural rendering. I don't think it's going to really help.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. No, this wouldn't help with the viewers and listeners. We could potentially talk about it on Monday with some of these renderings. This isn't going to help, is it? These are just architectural plans. That's hard to decipher,
I
isn't
don't
it?
think they're going to see that.
Yeah.
But
That's the
yeah,
extent of what I have.
I can't tell what that's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Next headline, what do you got?
529 homestays.
We-
Seems a little
I
small.
like stats. It seems like what? What'd you say?
It seems a little small, but
In the midweek, City Hall had a public input meeting that was led by Neighborhood Development Services, and a number of things came from this Neighborhood Development Services public input meeting. Mainly that they're going to enforce Airbnbs, VRBOs, Verbos, homestays, short-term rentals. They're going to try to do a better job at enforcing them. Okay, there's a number of Airbnbs, short-term rentals that are operating illegally,
no doubt.
where the city's not collecting taxes. The owners of the Airbnbs, the operators, are doing it outside the law.
Yeah.
Something that struck me from this meeting: 529 exist in Charlottesville. You think that seems light? This is strictly city limits.
Yeah, I know. I may be, my mind may be expanding that to
Albemarle County.
Alco.
Yeah.
That's 529 that they know of.
529 that they know of, that's right. So content or conversation for your cocktail and charcuterie party this weekend, there's 529 Airbnbs in the city. And further content and conversation for you, the Charlottesville City Hall is committed to further enforcing the legality of these Airbnbs. Permitting, insurance.
Wasn't it changing the permit fee from like 100 to 500, except it's going to be for 3 years instead of 1 year?
That's correct. The permit fee for the city that you will pay the city was $100 a year. Now it's $500, but that $500 permit is going to last 3 years, where the $100 permit only lasts for 1 year.
Yeah.
So they've raised it from $100 a year to, what is that, like $150, $160 and change. 320, 480 was at $165.
Yeah.
$165, $166, something like that. So they've raised it $66 a year basically. And they could cap it at 8 guests per homestay.
Yeah.
And they're going to go balls to the wall with enforcement. And Deep Throat's talked about this in the past. There's a boatload of software that's out there, third-party software that you can use that can scrub these short-term rental websites where the bookings happen, and offer a data set for City Hall that they can use to police and enforce rules and regulations. They are not doing that now, which is travesty. And someone's always going to operate in the gray area. Mm-hmm. Next headline, what do you got?
Let's see. How will Fleisher's health background affect Houseless?
New city councilor Jen Fleisher is replacing Brian Pinkston in January. Her background is mental health. She's a huge mental health advocate. She makes her living in the mental health space. I think it's 2026. The year 2026, in a lot of ways, is going to be determined by what Charlottesville, Virginia does with enforcing policy on homelessness, in particular in the downtown mall. They spent $6.2 million to buy a massive brick building on Holiday Drive, and they're going to spend millions more. The final number will surpass $10 million on building a homeless campus center right off the bypass on Holiday Drive.
I'm not opposed to that, but I'm certainly not convinced that that's gonna be a whole lot of help for the downtown mall.
And you've made very compelling arguments. In fact, maybe you've even persuaded my mind. So I will say this: if they do not, Charlottesville City Council, enforce the no camping, no sleeping on the downtown mall policy, nor no storing your belongings on the downtown mall or in public places. You are encouraged to do it in the homeless center, and if they don't put policy in play that empowers the police to enforce this, then the $10 million plus they spend on Holiday Drive is a waste.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how Jen Fleisher, who's replacing Brian Pinkston, her background, how she makes her living is mental health in that space, how that mental health background is going to impact her decision-making, her votes, her policy, her mindset on homelessness and sheltering in public places.
Yeah, I would guess that she would be a 100% no vote, no matter what, against any type of ordinance. I'm not sure if I think that that Pinkston could have been talked around.
I think Pinkston would have been much more likely to greenlight the no camping, no sheltering, no storing your belongings in public places than Jen Fleischer.
I do too. I think there's not a chance that she would ever vote for something like that.
And I incline to potentially agree with you. And then is the next thing, 5 counselors, 3 then determine policy, that Michael Payne and Natalie Oshrin are going to combine with Jen Fleischer on this with a 3 of 5 vote.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah. And time will tell. We are 4 weeks away from Fleischer taking over Pinkston and for a new mayor for Charlottesville, Virginia. He's got Natalie Oshrin. I got Michael Payne. Keith Smith's got Juan Diego Wade. I think my hunch says Keith Smith's going to be 1-9 in prop bets, 1 win, 9 losses. You have a very good shot of winning this. You're currently 0-1 on prop bets. I believe my prop bet record is 9-1. But I think you may be favored to slightly win this prop bet. I have Michael Payne. You have Natalie Oshrin. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's between Payne and Oshrin?
Yeah, probably.
Next headline. What do you got?
Let's see. Tony Elliott. Elevating Charlottesville.
ACC Coach of the Year. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Going into this season, over the last 3 years,
yeah, who would have thought?
He had the least amount of wins of any college football team in power football.
Speaking of sports betting, I wouldn't be surprised if there were people betting on when he was going to get canned.
Oh, 100%. Yours included. Yours truly. I thought Tony Elliott going into this year was going to be his last hurrah. Now he's playing Duke tomorrow in the ACC Championship. Mm-hmm. And if he beats Duke in the ACC Championship, the man is probably, ladies and gentlemen, the National Coach of the Year.
No doubt.
And on National Signing Day this week, Tony Elliott was talking about the possibility of Chandler Morris returning for another year as the starting quarterback of the University of Virginia football team. This is a wild time we live in. A wild time where the basketball team beats the brakes off of Texas, and then 72 hours later, the football team plays Duke in Charlotte in the ACC Championship, and Virginia, 10-2 overall, is a 4-point favorite to win. That line opened at 2.5. 4-point favorite for Virginia to win on a neutral site. Wild times. 8 o'clock kick, national TV, ABC, Virginia against Duke. Should the Wahoos win, they go dancing in the college football playoff. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the snowy edition of the I Love CVille Show. We thank John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, 61 years in business. The Vermillions are who you contact for any sanitary needs. They have a website, charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com, that is easy to use, and they offer free in-market delivery. 61 years in business, a family that's 5 generations strong in Albemarle County, and a family that's been running the business for 3 generations. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. Thank you kindly for joining us. So long, everybody.